system. No, I must place the unions in proper pathway for them to join them.
Hello and welcome to the program. It appears the dust raised by the budget padding saga in the House of Representatives is settling down. Some lawmakers, though, are still insisting on an independent probe of the whole issue. Of course, the issue has polarized the House into two broad factions, with one calling on the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, to resign and the other backing him. Now, both factions have been bandying numbers in the past few weeks, with the Transparency Group saying it has gathered about 250 signatures of lawmakers who want the Speaker to step down. But supporters of the Speaker also claim that they have the signatures of 340 out of 360 lawmakers backing the Speaker to remain in office. In fact, that came from the chairman of the House Committee on Public Petition, Uzoma Nkem Abonta, who said more than 350 members of the House are in support of Yakubu Dogara. Now, if that is correct, it will be practically impossible to unseat the Speaker. Now, the Speaker himself shunned a letter now by the police inviting him to a special investigative panel on the matter. He said the invitation letter was not signed by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. The panel had in the letter requested the Speaker and others mentioned in the petition to appear before it last Friday. Now, that petition, by the way, was submitted by Abdul Mumini Jibrin, now the man who is at the center of all this. The Speaker rather met with President Muhammadu Buhari over the budget crisis on the same day. On the other hand, the APC has threatened to sanction Honorable Jibrin for what the party described as an embarrassment to the presidency and the party. The president's aides on National Assembly matters have also come out to say that the budget was not padded and that padding is unknown to the legislature, and also insisting that lawmakers have the powers to amend the budget. Let me just put it here that both presidential aides used to be lawmakers. Both of them were actually in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Now, the crux of the matter in this whole issue is whether lawmakers are allowed to make insertions in a budget. In other words, does the Constitution empower lawmakers to make insertions? The man who is at the center of this entire issue, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, that's a former House Committee Chairman on Appropriation, says yes. Here's what he said in a recent Channels television interview.
There's been a lot of insertions in the 2016 budget from the angle of the National Assembly, even though the law allows it.
Now, that's not all. He goes further to make this explanation. Take a listen.
Personally, I believe that the insertions were too much. And it's also very important that the Constitution gave us the power to appropriate. It gave us the power to insert. But the intention of the Constitution is not for you to do senseless insertions.
Well, joining me now to dissect this further are two lawyers. Onyeka Chubani is the second vice president-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association and the constitutional lawyer. Also have Olaruwaju Ajanaku, who is also a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Mr. Ajanaku. You heard the man in the center of all of this. I mean, you heard him there, for instance, saying that the Constitution allows insertions, and then going on to say, well, that the Constitution does not allow senseless insertions, that he feels the insertions were too much. I mean, I want to get your reaction on that.
It's quite appalling to hear him say that the Constitution allows insertion of what was not there in the first place into a budget. There is nowhere in the Constitution that we operate, that we use currently, the Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended, there is no portion, no section of it allows for any insertion whatsoever that was not attended to by committees before same was passed on to the presidency for the appending of signature to same for the assent of the president. I don't. Maybe he has a different constitution that he has read that I have not seen, that I have not read or heard of.
And the question is that if he believes the Constitution allows it, Then why bring up this issue in the first place?
That's the issue. That's the issue. This is what will now. He has just triggered a controversy that ought not to be in the first place. He is also speaking from the two sides of his mouth, and it's not allowed. If he is saying, as he has said, that the Constitution allows it, then it becomes constitutional what the
Constitution does not allow is senseless. What is
oh my goodness. This person, Jobrin was his name, should stop deceiving Nigerians. He should stop talking to people as if no one is read or lettered at all. He's saying, his allegation was that the Constitution, that the budget was padded. And now he's saying, well, yes, the Constitution allows the padding, but that it doesn't allow senseless insertion or senseless padding. So if there was an allowance, a leeway for you to insert certain things,
how does one padding
become an offense?
Let me just get your take on this, Mr. Ubani. I mean, it's quite, to be candid, when I heard this, I was shocked.
Wonderful.
That, that the Constitution allows it. I mean, coming from the man who has put out all these allegations there. So the question is, if the Constitution allows it, are we not wasting our time even doing all of this? Is he not wasting his time as well? Because the Constitution allows it, so why bring it up? Yeah. And to say that what the Constitution does not allow is senseless insertions. The question is, how do you define senseless insertion? Who decides what senseless insertions is?
Yeah, one would have expected the honorable member to have cited a section of the Constitution that actually allows the National Assembly to insert any other expenditure or income different from what the executive has actually prepared. Because I have a section of the Constitution. I mean, if you go to section 81, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and let me crave your indulgence to read the provision. It said, the President shall cause to be prepared and laid before each house of the National Assembly at any time in each financial year estimates of the revenues and expenditure of the Federation for the next following financial year. So it is actually the executive. The same thing with the position of governors at the state level. They are the one that actually prepares the estimate and income of... But
the question is, can the National Assembly, can lawmakers actually amend
Can I send it emphatically? No. There is nowhere in the law that they are allowed to do that. What they do is either, if they want anything to be inserted into the budget, to pass through the executive in the course of preparation. I am from a constituency and I want a particular project in my constituency. I do now meet...
Because there are actually ministries.
Yeah, there are ministries. And they make an input. This is what I want in my environment. This is what I want in my own area, in order to ensure that I satisfy the people who have elected me. So it is actually the executive that does prepare the estimate and, of expenditure and income, and then bring for you to now either appropriate by way of either reducing it or agreeing. You don't add. Addition, which is now the new word, pardon.
But I would think if you can reduce it, then you can add.
No, what I mean is that you cannot add. You cannot add. If there is maybe the heading that is not proper, you can rearrange it. And rearrangement does not in any way allow you to impute anything. As I said earlier, you can, if the amount is, maybe it has been budgeted before. The thing you want to buy now, or you want to make provision for, has already been provided in the previous project. Of course, budget. You can say no, this cannot go, but you cannot add, because you don't know what is being needed. It is not you. Even if you know it, it is through the executive that actually have to insert it. It's very important, because we are knowing new world now in part. Yeah, it's been going on for years, where we have allowed illegality to go on. And we have not in any way, even as lawyers, challenged the constitutionality of lawmakers actually adding figures to annual budget. It is nowhere in the law. Maybe we should sort it out once and for all at this time that this matter is cropping up. It is wrong. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional for National Assembly members or State House Assembly members to add any figure whatsoever to a budget prepared by the executive. What is doable is you can pass through the executive to add any figure that you want for your own environment, for your own constituency, but not that you will now single-handedly, after the executive has prepared a budget, to begin to add. And that is the pattern that is, and they are now putting their own personal budgets, Why it is condemnable and should not be allowed is that now we are now finding out that what they have been doing over the years, that even thing that has to do with them when they want to marry, when they want to build a house, because the allegation by Jubril is that the budget that was inside, I mean the figure that was inserted is for the the farm benefit of the Dogara, that he put his own farm into the national budget that is meant for the entire country because of this issue of addition, power now to add, which is not allowed by the law. So I'm saying there is nowhere in the law. I would have expected Jubril to now quote a section of the Constitution that allows the National Assembly members to insert. And he didn't do that. And so in the absence of any law expressly authorizing the insertion by any National Assembly member, then it is wrong, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal.
Can I get your take on this, Mr. Raju? Because there have been arguments that the National Assembly can actually amend the budget, that what the president presents to the National Assembly are just mere estimates. And so you don't expect the National Assembly to just, rubber stamp what the president has presented to them and then give back to the president for assent. And so if the National Assembly can actually amend, I mean, that word amend, it's actually, if you like, in this context, bogus. It could mean a lot of things.
Where is amendment used? I want us to be called, the word used is appropriate, not amend.
Ubani said something that we shouldn't let it just go. That you have also mentioned that, well, yes, that the National Assembly can go through the ministries or parastatals.
That's quite true.
To say that we want certain things done in our area.
Especially during the budget, defense, and preparation stage. Exactly,
I agree. Now, if that's the question I want to ask, if they have the power to reduce what has been said or what has been brought forward.
It presupposes they have the power to add.
That's what I want to say. Perhaps he's saying it has not been stated expressly. He's using the law terms down. The express inclusion or exclusion of something, or inclusion is the express exclusion of all others. But what I want to say is this. I want to, move away from what he said a little bit. You see, these people will come and say, okay, we have this projects that we want included in this budget. Perhaps the government has budgeted maybe a billion naira for a particular project. You are saying, well, yes, that will not be enough to satisfy the yearnings of the people because you are there to serve the people. They are now saying, look, you need to increase this to,
and that is completely, that situation is different.
That is why I want to lay exactly. This is the situation I'm trying to make the analog so that we can be very clear about it. This is the situation where we say, no, 1 or 20 projects that we have mentioned in your proposal will not be enough. Increase it to 30 projects, and that will be fine.
And not to create new headings.
No. That is not padding. Padding would then be that after the project, everything has been taken in, it has been submitted, or it has been agreed upon by the House, you now go behind to increase what has been agreed upon to a higher figure, or increase this, the projects in the proposal to a higher one. Then you must have padded that.
Or sneak in some items.
You see, padding is an inflation or raising from the level that something was before to a higher level. And padding per se, you will say is not criminal because it's not in any law. But the act of doing it will amount to forgery. And forgery is criminal.
I really, this is quite technical.
It is criminal.
No, yeah, I don't see it as being too technical. It's, as I said earlier, after this incident, we'll be able to define, the issue of budget process. What are the
role of the National Assembly.
Beautiful. We must fine tune it. Just as Riley pointed out now, let's assume that over this particular heading, maybe what we are provided for is 10 naira. Yes. And we discover that 10 naira will not be enough to carry out that particular project. Maybe say let us put it for 15 naira because 15 naira will actually ensure the execution of that project for the benefit of the community or the environment and all that. You will. But of course, you must take into cognizance also the issue of income the income, to finance the project.
Exactly.
Because the executive must have thought out all the modalities and make sure that what they have put, they will be able to finance it. So if you're adding additional amount of money, you must also take into cognizance all the indices of how you can create even the income in order to finance the expenditure. That also must be taken into account. But in doing that, that will be allowed under the law, because you are trying to do it for the benefit of the country. You don't have any self-interest. You want the project to be executed.
Exactly.
So that can be allowed.
Exactly.
As I said earlier, we now define what they can do when a budget is sent to them, laid before their feet, as the law has made a provision. When the executive lays it before the National Assembly, what are they expected to do? What are they supposed to add? What are they supposed to subtract? If these things are well defined, then you can't come in a way of adding additional aid that was not provided for by the executive, or begin to add figures that was not contemplated by the executive. In the process, personal interest comes in. That's why we're saying that people now add things that are not for national interest. It is not personal interest into a national budget. It has never happened anywhere in the world. And that's why we say we must investigate what the allegation of Jubin.
Thank you.
If Jubin is saying that somebody added figure in order to satisfy after
that's the issue. That's the key word. After the committee sat on saying and have said, okay, this is what we have agreed pass it on. And then they went
somebody now add figures behind. And that was the allegation. We are saying that there must be a proper investigation in all this. To really unearth
and of course, even he himself agreeing that he was also part of
the entire process. So please, let there be so that, as I said earlier, if we fine-tune the entire process as a result of what has just happened for us as a nation, I think that's the way to even the change we are talking about has started. If you say we want change and we want end to impunity, and somebody has been doing things wrongly, and we now want to correct it, I think this particular APC government must try as much as possible to sanitize this budget process for us as a nation. Correct. So that from now onwards, we begin to do it right. That to me,
someone even said something. Gali Naba said padding has been in existence for quite a while. That this thing they've been doing it.
As a matter of fact, I think even the Senate too has its own. It's just that nobody is complaining. Nobody has
exactly. But now, because he fell out with Dogara, that's why we are. Know
even at the state level, even as I speak to you, at the state level, this thing goes on. It's going on. These things are going on. So we must define this process. One more time.
I mean, now the man at the center now has said he's gone to EFCC, gone to basically all the anti-corruption agencies in the country, and there are those who say, look, if there's any issue at all, that it is the House that should investigate it, that the House Committee on Ethics should be able to deal with this, and not the EFCC or the ICPC and the others. In your opinion, do you, I don't know, do you think justice will be served in this case, so to speak, if the House Committee on Ethics now investigated this, especially when we hear the chairman of that committee coming out forcefully in support of one of the central characters?
There's a legal maxim which he knows, Nemo judex in casa sua. You can't be a judge in your matter.
You can never be.
You can't be a judge, Of course, it's just
but they also argue that this is a matter for the National Assembly, and that matters for the National Assembly should not be taken.
I don't agree when it involves crime.
Exactly.
If there's any criminal intent and criminal action, then it cannot be done by the same house.
I concur. Because right now, the proper thing to be done is for the police to be invited to investigate the
because the police is investigating.
For sure, and they are on the right track. That is what should be done. It is proper and it is legal. So we can see what is playing out even in the National Assembly and House of Representatives, where it has been factionalized. A faction belonging to Dogara can say, well, yes, we have investigated. If they are the helm of affairs for investigating the allegation, they will definitely set him free, that he has nothing to answer, no case to answer. And then the other faction will say, no.
And we've seen the speaker shunning an invitation by the police. I mean,
that
the letter sent to him was not signed by the Inspector General.
Well, if it is issue of signature, I would rather urge the IG to sign his letter and ensure that he attends the interview. My problem is which agency, security agency, is actually involved, because I know that EFCC also stepped in There was a time that even the SSS...
Well, Dogara took his petition to all of them.
Oh, fine.
But Mr. Bani,
Yes.
you know, it is he said the Inspector General did not sign the invitation. But one thing for sure is, if there is a panel that has been set up by the IG,
yeah, exactly.
A member of the panel or the head of the panel can sign the invitation. He doesn't have to wait for the IG.
What I'm
the
saying
IG doesn't have to
it's
sign.
It's just like saying the president setting up a panel
exactly.
to investigate something. That panel invites...
Or you are invited to the police. I say you request.
My
You need the signature of the commissioner of police.
I don't want technicality to be used to stop this investigation.
Yes.
So if it demands...
It's not a technicality.
It's
a simple invitation that he must attend.
The signature of IG, to me, I would rather, we won't take IG 1 second to sign and say, let him appear before that panel.
Indeed.
And let them find out actually the truth or the falsity of whatever information this man has. So my take in all this is that let's not indulge him by allowing this particular matter to die a natural death because the IG may refuse, so I'm not going to sign and all that.
But don't you fear that this matter could die a natural death, especially when you consider the fact that in the House of Reps, it appears to have assumed a political dimension, whether or not you like it. We're having two factions now. It's like the whole thing is now boiling down to the removal or non-removal of the speaker, and that's quite unfortunate. Because it appears that's the way the members of the House are looking at this.
But it shouldn't be.
But that's not what Nigerians are looking at it. Nigerians are looking at this issue that the crime is alleged to have been committed. A member of the House has actually cried out. A member of the House has submitted petitions. A member of the House has actually given documentary evidence, to show that the crime has been allegedly committed. So the proper thing is for the security agencies to come in. If they now kill this matter or bury it under the carpet, of course that will not be too good for the integrity of this government, especially for a government that claims that they want to fight corruption and they have gone ahead, to show evidence that they're fighting corruption. Now there is evidence of corruption or alleged corruption in the House. You will not allow it to be swept under the carpet. You want it to be investigated, even if for the sake of investigation. Let it turn out that at the end of investigation that there was no crime committed. You give explanation. But if you bury this matter without that investigation being done, then you're not helping the government.
Well, we'll just wait and see what these various bodies will do. But let's just take a short break here. When we come back, I'll be seeking your opinion now on something else, but somewhat related. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, Nigeria's Attorney General to reopen high-profile cases. Stay with us. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.